I've met with a lot of firms. I've had these situations before, but I haven't found anybody as good as Merlin and as dedicated to what they do. They're not here to make you happy. They're here to win. You have insurance for a reason. You pay a premium for a reason. Don't be afraid. If you don't think they're settling with you fairly, that's when you have to get someone like the Merlin Group involved.
My name is Chase Johnson. I'm from Denver, Colorado, and we have used C3 Group several times on some of our large loss commercials and our higher end residential for their appraisal services and their public adjusting services. Their knowledge of the market, of the ever-changing regulations, and their ability to create a very thorough estimate from an understanding of construction and the management of the project.
Good Friday afternoon, everyone. Lead meteorologist Sean Choquette here for our daily 12 p.m. hail forecast, sponsored as always by C3 Group and Merlin Law Group. You can check out both of their pages in the description below if you're watching us here on Facebook, as always. And for once, it's actually a hail forecast. We have some other things to talk about, but first, on this Friday the 13th, we're going to talk about Missouri. Our 2019 state review has brought us to a state that gets a lot more hail than a lot of the previous ones we have covered. This year we had 304 reports across the state of Missouri. I'm sure folks in Kansas City or St. Louis are probably both like, what the hell are you talking about? I didn't really get that much hail. Missouri is a pretty big state, had a lot to cover here, so we actually average about 352 hail reports, so it still was below average even with that much higher number, and it was a better year than 2018. Not as good as 2017. 2017 was the last year where those actually got quite a bit of hail, especially in Kansas City, and that really ratchets up those numbers. About 267 in 2016, so it was a better year than 2016 this past year. Obviously nothing close to the record 2011, yet again showing its face for the state record for another state. We had 59 maps in Missouri. It took a little while to compile this list this morning, 24 of which were one-star maps, but surprisingly 28 of which were two-star maps, and only 7 were 3-star maps. No 4- or 5-star maps in the state of Missouri this year, unfortunately. The best looking storm that happened in the state of Missouri, I got to give it up to the one that happened in Branson at the end of May. This one had 2-inch hail, about 75-mile-per-hour winds with it. Only about 6,000 homes were impacted, but they all kind of looked like this there in Hollister. So that was a pretty substantial storm, kind of a low-key one. I think kind of fell under the radar. It was at the end of May. We had a ton of storms happening all at once, and this one didn't have a huge house count. Wasn't one of the big blockbuster storms, but it did quite a bit of damage. That wind-driven hail can really do a number on quite a few properties. So that was Missouri in a nutshell. We pretty much covered about half the Kansas City area. I think what I'm going to end up doing once I finish the states is I'm going to go over a couple of the core city metro areas and go over them as well, since a couple of them bisect some states. So it gets hard to get a true picture of how like Kansas City did or St. Louis did compared to average. Anyway, with all that out of the way, there's a chance for some hail this evening. Actually, pretty late into tonight. There wasn't a chance for hail. It was mostly a wind shot for far southern sections of Georgia and parts of Florida, but the most recent update did have a chance for some hail. I'm not totally sold on it. I have a 2% pretty much across the board. I think this is going to be very low end. Maybe we get a couple 1-inch reports out of this in Florida. And it's going to be late tonight as well. It doesn't look like anything's really going to happen of consequence until after about 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe after midnight. Could be getting real late into the overnight hours. More likely going to be more of a wind event as a very strong cold front continues to push across Florida here. So maybe up to 1-inch hail, winds up to 65 miles an hour possible in some spots. But again, most of that threat I think is going to be for wind. But hey, it's something. And moving forward to tomorrow for your Saturday, nothing at all. And I'm actually going beyond 48 hours because we do have another chance for hail on Sunday, December 15th. This is the first day in what looks to be a couple day long stretch of a pretty potent system that's going to be moving across the United States somewhere in this range. So that is going to bring a lot of winter weather north of the center of low pressure, the center of the storm. And to the south, you got a lot more moist air, a lot more instability. And hey, we might be in play for some severe weather, some more isolated storms, assuming everything kind of pans out just right. Right now, I'm thinking we could see up to some $half size hail in far eastern sections of Texas, maybe parts of western Arkansas to the west of Little Rock and south of Fort Smith, and possibly even down towards the Shreveport, Louisiana area for your Sunday. And then things push east towards Memphis and into Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, all for your Monday, where it might be more of a wind threat, might actually have some hail. We'll have to kind of see how things pan out. If it ends up being a roaring squall line of storms, you're not going to see much in the way of any hail, but you could see quite a bit of wind. Or if things kind of break up, and there's a lot more to kind of pin down. But we're starting to get a good enough idea where I'm fairly confident we could at least have one small risk for the day on Sunday. And yes, I did put in so you're telling me there's a chance. Yes, there's a chance we could see some hail Sunday and possibly even Monday going into next week. We're in a very progressive pattern, which means there's storm systems kicking out, one right after the other. Yes, it's a lot more in the way of cold air and snow and whatnot, but you get a couple that get a little further up into the United States versus just scraping along the coast, and it brings some instability into play as we get close to Christmas here. Follow us here on Facebook, hit see first. We are doing videos all the way up until probably right before Christmas Eve, and maybe obviously there's going to be a bit of a break for the holidays unless anything real wild happens. So make sure you hit see first. You don't miss any of our content. If you need any assistance with our app or our website, feel free to give us a call and we'll happily set up a training to get everything all set up so that way you and your team are squared away for the next storm season year in 2020. And the number is right there on the screen, 855-334-4245. Give us a call, and we'll happily set things up. Or if you're interested in hail trace, any other comments, questions, or concerns, you can hit us there. You can email us if you don't want to talk to us on the phone. Visit our website for more details about hail trace in general, and visit our Instagram and our Twitter. Search @hailtrace, and you can follow us on there. Hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you again on Monday, and fingers crossed, maybe we'll see some hail happening by the time we get to next week. And if not, well, enjoy the weekend anyway. I'll talk to you guys on Monday.